Hi, I'm Rowan from HG Walter, and as part of our butchery demonstration series, I'm going to show you how to bone and trim a beef brisket. Coming underneath the blade bone, face up the ends, grate the tip of the knife against the bone.
3, 2, 1.
So with our beef brisket, we just want to start with the tip of our knife, following around the bottom of the rib bones here. Just loosening it up. This will just make it a little bit easier on the other end. And all you're doing is cutting through the fat that's connected to the bone there. Then you're going to bring the ribs facing up, holding onto the meat, and just going to scrape against each rib bone as you go along, just loosening the meat. Be careful to keep a good tight hold of the meat. You've got a knife in there and it's dangerous if it falls or flops on you. And just go from one end to the other, scraping against that bone all the way. Now as you get to the bottom of the ribs, the bone will curve just slightly in, but that's where you'll meet the cut you did earlier. And if you're always pushing that bone away from the meat, you can see where you're going anyway. Just always opening out as you go. Tip of your knife. Just looking for that sound as you cut through the last piece. And we'll trim the meat off the bones later, and that will be used for mince and burgers. The next thing we need to do is just trim this top layer of fat off our brisket. From the top of the brisket, just going to find the seam of the fat, and with the tip of your knife, pull and cut away. And as long as you can hear that sound, you know you're in the right place. Just opening that seam up as you go. We'll just put that fat to one side for now. The next bit of fat we want to trim off is this thick layer of fat there. Now that runs just in between a couple of the muscles of the brisket at the top. We're not going to take it all out, just the really thick bit that runs along the top. Just scooping around, making sure not to cut off too much of the meat. We only want that fat. Just going to trim the last of the couple of bits of fat on the top there. Now with this fat we're trimming off, what we do at HG Walter, we like to render it down to make beef dripping. Now turning the brisket over, I have this large layer of fat down one end. I'm not going to take all of it off, I'm just going to level it out a little bit. And that's how you bone and trim a beef brisket. And if you'd like to see more butchery demonstrations, please click the link.